important because you need to understand this. Now, what I'm talking about gets dismissed like some sort of neo-Nazi talk, and I understand that. But I want you to understand this. The character of a people, their culture, is, in most countries, there's a homogeneity, there's a singularity to it. For instance, if you go to Germany, well, that's a bad idea. Any of these countries where you had the huge Muslim influence, but even with the huge Muslim influence, they've not really become German. The Turks, for instance, who are causing all the problems in Germany, they have not become part of the culture. They're still foreigners, they're still strangers in a strange land, even multiple generations in. There is still a dominant sort of German culture. Swiss, well, yeah, I guess you can say that. You've got Italian, French, and German, but and there you have a linguistic problem. Danish, let's take the Danes, for instance. The Scandinavian countries, all of them, the Finns, the Swedes, the Danes, the Norwegians, there is a relatively singular culture. They speak the same language. They have, in Sweden, their religion is almost atheism. It is almost, anyway, Latin America. Most of the people of Latin America derive from the mestizo culture, the original, what we would call Indian cultures, the primitive people there. And then you have some influence of the Europeans who came in, and there are even some Middle Easterns who came in, but pretty much the culture is defined by that. And it's still the dominant culture. Argentina would be a good example of an exception to that. Fast forward to the U.S. The dominant culture of this country was, until relatively recently, the founding culture. It's what we extolled. The Irish may hate the English in Ireland, but they came to America and adopted these English-American traits. The Germans came here. It was a huge influx. And in fact, if anybody who ever quotes the Teddy Roosevelt speech about hyphenated Americans, that was actually not about blacks or Mexicans. That was about Germans. Roosevelt's great speech, his timeless speech, I'm going to look this up because I love it. I'm going to read it to you again. His timeless speech was about hyphenated Americans and Germans coming here, because the Germans were trying to retain their own culture and not assimilate. And it took a couple of generations because Germans are very proud of their culture. I say all that to say this. Our legal code, our economy, our culture, the things that we celebrate that made it so special were uniquely English-American. Now, for 200 years, most people assimilated into that and came to understand, man, I like this place better than where I came from. We have seen now 2 generations of waves of people who come here to flee a country and try to make this country into theirs. And our culture is such that we celebrate differences, we celebrate diversity. It's why we were always the all-star team. It's why we were able to go abroad and sell widgets around the world, because they learned our language and we sold them our products. In many cases, we financed it. We could do business anywhere. The American character was such, oh yeah, we'll bow to you, we'll touch your feet, we'll, crap in a hole in the ground, whatever you want. We'll sell you stuff. That's what we're good at. We make stuff, we sell stuff, we open borders, and if we need to, we'll come in and protect the trade route so that we can make money. Those concepts were what our Constitution, our legal system, our political structure, what they were all based on. The idea of graft in politics and corruption in government, or corruption in graft and corruption in politics and in government, in the process by which we elect and in the process by which we govern. It was not considered part of our culture that we tolerated corruption. My wife was in India last month, and she was very frustrated because she and her father were going along, and my boys are in the back, and there was a little bit of a jam. An officer had pulled someone over on the side of the road, and the guy got out, and he clearly paid the officer a bribe. Officer's like, no, give me some more. Pays him all off. Officer goes his way, he goes there. She just gets furious because she's an American citizen, but she wants India. She does not want that kind of thing going on in her country. And it's so hard. In most countries, in many countries of the world, your street-level police officer is on the take. He makes almost no money from his job, but he makes all his money off of bribes. That's not acceptable here. Does it happen? Sure. But it's the exception, not the rule. It is relatively rare. And no matter what, they have to be fearful, because we are indignant toward that. We will not tolerate it. It's not part of our culture. It's not part of our ethos. Well, part of our criminal justice system was we don't make self-enforcing rules. We trust juries. There is reasonableness to the way we do things. That's why I get so furious about zero-tolerance policies. Zero-tolerance policies reflect the worst in modern America, where stupid people cannot do their jobs, so they write rules that enforce themselves, but rules cannot enforce themselves. And that's where we go wrong. And you can see that in the increasing number of statutory crimes for which there is no defense. You step across this line, you commit a crime. No matter if you got pushed, no matter if you fell, no matter if you keel over. And that's bad. That's straying from our American culture. Everything you want to know about feral hogs, Billy Higginbotham, coming up next.